Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 20th rundown episode. I know, wild, right?
Wow, we're almost half a year.
Almost half a year. We are. It's once we hit the 25 mark, it'll be I'd say once we hit the 50th episode, I'd say that should probably be season 1.
Fair, very fair.
That yeah, just because like that's a whole year. But we have a few things today. We're gonna start with like the political shit for like the next 15-20 minutes, specifically Biden dropping out and the shit with Tenacious D. Then at the 20-minute mark we're going to start talking about normal shit. So you feel free to skip ahead if you don't want to listen to that. If you do, stick around. So let's start with the elephant in the room. Biden stepping down. It was announced at 9 p.m. This is a good thing. We are in agreement with this. There is no debate needed to be had.
I think me and Evan, to take it even further, agree that Trump is a genuine enough threat that regardless of experience or age in a particular field, a new face was just needed.
I think that Kamala, while I do have a lot of criticisms of Kamala Harris's policies and politics, specifically she's a cop, for one thing. I will say though, it will be fun to start seeing all these think pieces written about Donald Trump, about how he's too old, about how his gaffes are too much, and how he should be the president. And the thing is that Trump has too much of an ego. Don't get me wrong, Biden absolutely had enough of an ego, but he was also like, not a bad president. So I think Trump will very much end up. I think Trump will be very mad by those think pieces. Hell, I'll write a think piece like that. I'll post it on my fucking Medium. Fun fact: before we continue on this, I actually started releasing the show notes on my Medium page. So if you want to go listen to that for folks as well, that's there too for the rundowns.
Yeah, please
at
do.
least.
I just want to say very
it.
quick. I hope back to the Kamala versus Trump now. I just hope that people's dissatisfaction with Kamala doesn't, eclipse the dissatisfaction / hatred they have for a Trump-esque figure. I don't know. I'm very anxious to see what the election results are going to be. Now, I'm excited to see the debate. We're actually going to have a debate where they debate points.
Yeah,
finally.
And I'll give Kamala credit. She's a sassy bitch, so she's gonna like fucking.
It's gonna be good.
There is nothing more entertaining than watching a black woman bully an old racist man.
Exactly. And for that, I'll be here for it. And I really hope that, the points of politics, we get back to that. Because,
if we were looking at this from the perspective of just like political points and policy, Biden wouldn't have had to step down and it wouldn't have been a question because Biden's policies from like the labor, economic, and in certain situations, social, have been relatively stellar. The only downsides, the only things that I can think that were negative about his presidency for the last 4 years, most left-wing president in my lifetime, was he continued Donald Trump's border policies in terms of like, internment camps at the border and his enablement of Israel's genocide of Gaza in Palestinians. So those are so it's like he's 80% which is still better than like every other fucking president we've had so far.
I just want to say, I think the reason that he had to step down is because it's not the 80s anymore. You can't Ronald Reagan it. You really can't. No. If people have eyes and ears and social media, the big difference between now and the 80s, I would definitely say that, having a brain dead president, no matter how good their policies are, it just won't bode well for the American public, especially when people are telling the American public this is the threat to democracy.
Yeah. I'm worried about some of the labor victories we've gotten with Kamala as a potential president, just because, again, she's a fucking cop and she's a shit.
Well, if you guys can still hear me, I agree. Evan,
Yeah, I'm really sorry about that snafu, everyone. My computer just randomly had a stroke. I don't know what happened. It just was weird. But what were you saying?
I believe you were talking about how Carmelo was a shit lib, and then you cut out.
So Kamala's a shit lib. She, I don't know how the labor victories and the economic victories and the more left wing, economic changes that Biden has done are going to. I don't know if they'll survive under her presidency. Unfortunately, I think I'm worried that because here's the thing. To Biden's credit, he was always especially later in life, he was very much more on recognizing, hey, we got to throw a fucking bone to the work to the middle and lower classes. He was very much he was very much. He's no Bernie Sanders, obviously, but.
But he was doing it as best he could do with a corporate, not necessarily corporate, but corporate Democratism in that framework.
He was about as far. He was almost not a corporate Democrat. You know what I mean? He was just a hair's breadth away. He was always just off being based. He was based in a lot of shit, but there was just he was all the vibe was always just one dope thing away from being cool.
And I think especially with the last 3 weeks, with all the interviews he's been doing since the debate, if he came off more charismatic than narcissistic, I feel like he would have never stepped down. But a lot of the interviews and a lot of the reaction to the interviews, Democrats included, have been he's being way too narcissistic and acting like he's the only one who could do this. And realistically, he just doesn't have the sauce like that.
He did have the sauce in the past. I don't know if I don't know why they've been giving him the long-lasting adrenochrome instead of the fast-acting adrenochrome.
If this was 2016, Biden versus Trump, without a doubt, Biden would have took it. And 2020, the same results would have happened. I just don't understand why they really, really fucking tried so hard to shoehorn Clinton into this whole thing. It's so funny.
I think it was because Hillary Clinton had paid her dues. She had made all her friends, and she was like, I want the presidency, and enough party bigwigs were like, okay, you can have it. And they threw their back behind her. It's Obama won. Obama won because he was just the more popular candidate. He was just the more popular candidate. If Obama didn't run in 08, Hillary Clinton probably would have won the Democratic primary. I mean, the Democratic primary, and probably won the presidency. It's just she
against McCain, yeah, probably.
Yeah, and she probably would have won against Romney too. Because that 47% comment sunk his fucking campaign. But, I digress. I think ultimately, I
feel, this is just what I want to ask. Do you feel as confident about Kamala or more confident about Kamala than you did about Biden?
I don't know. Okay. Because before that first debate, I was confident with Biden. Because we had not seen him be, an issue. His policies were good. He talked good. When he came out, usually he was on his shit. His State of the Union address was a really great example of that. He was good.
And every reporter that was close to him was literally saying, oh, he's perfect. He's so sassy and he's attentive.
And he talks shit. He talks shit like a dude from the Northeast, which I like. You know what I mean? We're Northeast guys.
That isn't Trump.
Exactly. So it's he's a smarmy dickhead, but in a way that he has policies in a way that we are find more amenable. He's got good policy. He had there's a reason why they've had to make shit up about his economy being shit, about in terms of don't get me wrong, the economy is shit, but it's not his fucking fault. But the repercussions we're dealing with the economy are the result of Trump's changes to the economy plus COVID accelerating them. Like, we would have been seeing Trump's change if COVID never happened. The issues with the economy that we're currently dealing with, we would have been dealing with about 4 or 5 more years from now. But because just COVID kind of accelerated everything, it showed how worse it was. And that's part of the reason why Trump had, a good couple early years, is because if you actually extend the economy bars and stuff, like from the start of his presidency, and you push it back 4 to 5 years, you see a large incline starting from the beginning of the Obama presidency to when Trump takes over. So, Trump was not good for the economy. He inherited a good economy from a Democrat who fixed up the economy after a Republican fucked it up. And
ran a $4 billion deficit, which was also a reason for our fucking economy being in the shitter. And then the COVID.
Yes. And so I think that a lot of the economic things that Biden has done to sort of help with the economy, we're going to see those changes, I think, over the next few years. And if Kamala wins, hope to God she wins, she will be able to hopefully inherit that and not do anything to fuck it up. And the reason why I say that it's going to start getting better is because the CPI, Consumer Price Index, went down some points.
Okay.
Like it went down for the first time. The Consumer Price Index being the, rough level of like how much people are willing to spend and shit.
Uh-huh.
And it shows, and what it basically shows is that if people are not spending money, it goes down, and this in turn makes it so businesses like start lowering their prices and shit. And so that shows that the greedflation-y stuff that's happening, companies kept trying to pinch workers and see how much that the market would bear. They found how much the market would bear, kept pushing, it didn't work, and they brought it back down. And it's like, hopefully, and it will most likely continue to lower if we're lucky. So things will hopefully get cheaper with time. Housing's probably still fucked, but it's the housing market. You and I were never going to buy a home anyways.
Yeah, you're telling me, man. Unless this takes off.
Listen, man, this is not my only poker in the iron in the fire, but as far as content's concerned. But let's we still got 7.5 minutes before we go.
Let's talk.
This might be a little more contentious, so give your spiel on it and tell everybody what happened, nonpartisanly, then give your opinion, and then I'll give mine.
So Tenacious D, great band, Jack Black and Kyle Gass, started in the 80s or 90s, one of the two.
90s.
And 90s, yeah, that's what I thought. And great movie, comedy duo, fucking great game, Brutal Legends, if you ever play it. They are performing in Australia on the day that Trump gets shot. The night of the day that he got shot.
Right.
Kyle Gass's birthday is the night of the performance, and Jack Black does a whole number, sings him happy birthday, and then brings out a cake. He asked Kyle Gass to say, what's your wish, your birthday wish? And obviously he assumed he was going to be like, being here with this many people, or my music, or something, not what he said.
To be fair, what he said, I wish he didn't fucking miss, which, to be fair, we were all thinking it.
Yes, obviously. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. However, when you're standing in front of thousands of people, physically standing in front of thousands of people, you gotta have a little bit of a filter, especially when your buddy is in every major movie ever. He's in Borderlands. He's playing Steve in Minecraft. I mean, he's everywhere.
He's Kung Fu Panda. Panda.
Wasn't he also in something else? I can't remember, but he's in everything. So that's like corporate Jack Black.
He's like the Rock tier level of I'm in fucking everything.
Literally. And nothing against Jack Black. Fucking hope all the success in the world for him.
Same thing with Gas, but
same thing with Gas. So just want to finish the story. After that happens, they release a statement that Tenacious D is going to cancel their tour, and Kyle Gass gets dropped from his talent agency. Now, I want to say, obviously,
cringe behavior.
Obviously,
Cowards.
this is bullshit, dumb, the whole 9 yards. Yes, we agree. Shouldn't have said that shit in front of that big of a fan base.
But as consummate professionals, like if we take our own personal feelings out of it, you probably shouldn't be saying that when you've got like when you're at that fucking level. I'm not saying that you're not right. I'm not saying that I don't agree, but the right wing are fucking crazy, and they will fuck you. They will come out in enough. Like there were motherfuckers going out finding like little grandmas and shit at their Home Depot jobs and harassing them and shit over like saying like I wish they didn't like saying that like talking about I wish they didn't miss Trump's head, you know. And don't get me wrong, I will say I'll be the first person to say here he shouldn't have fucking missed, but you know. No, I digress. It's not because I agree with it's not because I agree with political violence or anything. I'm just saying it would probably take a load off for me anxiety wise if Trump's ass is dead. But I don't know. I don't think I don't advocate for that violence. I don't think it's a good idea. I don't want the Secret Service to come visit me at my house at 2:00 in the morning. So all of this is in Minecraft. So
I want to call this out because I feel like a lot of people might have this perspective, but nobody seems to really be saying it on a grand scale. Not that we're a grand scale.
Yeah, go for it.
What's it called? The inconsistency of political violence on the left versus the right is just straight up wrong. If you can, I understand.
You remember Nancy Pelosi's husband with the hammer? Everybody talking about that shit.
For a second, right? I think we all can agree. Do you remember what Kathy Griffin did leading into 2016, holding up Trump's severed head? I think we can agree that is cringe. A step too far. That's too far, right?
It's. I think. I agree that saying that
if you're a random fucking person. Let me clarify.
Yeah.
If you're a random fucking person, less than 1 million subscribers on YouTube, what the fuck ever, you're a rando, sure. Say what you want, do what you want. But if you're an actual celebrity in the celebrity world,
I wouldn't even call Kathy Griffin. I don't fucking like Kathy Griffin.
I'm saying you got an agent, you're a part of a talent agency, you got people that need to do your PR. Shut the fuck up. It's not in your best interest.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong. You can absolutely opine on politics. That's your God-given right as an American to waffle on and on about politics.
As much shit as you want.
Exactly. Obviously. Literally, podcasts exist so mediocre white men can talk about bullshit on the daily for no fucking reason. And I know that because I put out a daily fucking news podcast that I cover a news story and talk about my opinion. And I am the textbook definition of mediocre. But I digress. At the end of the day, if I do agree that while I agree with her message and I agree with the sentiment,
the execution is fucked.
I do think that from a professionalism standpoint, not in the sense of it's art, go for it, I don't give a fuck, who gives a shit. Two things. One, kind of rough to do if you're if you've got people that depend on you getting paid work. But the second thing I will say, I think that the difference between political violence is actually there might be some extremes like the Kathy Griffin stuff or things of that nature.
No. I also want to clarify this. I'm not saying rhetoric is comparable to political violence.
Yeah, it is the right wing in this country that actually carries out real political violence
based off of rhetoric. And I think that's kind of what I'm commenting on. Everybody...
Right. Left-wing people do not hear rhetoric from, pundits and politicians and then go out and execute that rhetoric. Right-wing people hear rhetoric from right-wing pundits and politicians and they do go do that.
And obviously, not every single fucking conservative is going to go out and kill somebody, but there is obviously a percentage higher on one side of this issue than the other.
No, I would even argue that if you look at the numbers of political the number of mass shootings that happen, if you just look at mass shootings in general, the number of people who had the political alignment of mass shooters, over 90% of which skew right.
No, I know.
And when you just when you only account for politically motivated violence, it is less than 2% of people that come from a left wing thing. In fact, when left wing people do commit violence, it is usually violence. It is usually self-flagellatory, like Aaron Bushnell, the airman who did the self-immolation.
Look what happened with the Black Panthers. That's why liberal-based political violence is not a thing in this country. It's why the KKK, although being called a terrorist group by in name only, I guess, can still fucking gather in this country.
Yeah.
Like, it's legitimately illegal. It's crazy.
Yeah, so you have to remember that, and even Destiny, that fucks even said it himself. He got banned and shit off of all types of streaming platforms because he said he was glad that he wished Trump had gotten killed, and he doesn't care that like MAGA tards like died in the audience. And he said
that's wrong.
Well, here's the thing. Have you
fuck all that?
See, no. You say that.
No.
But then I want to be very clear. I don't agree. I don't agree with the harshness there. But I do want to say for the record that you want to know the type. Like the people are like lionizing this firefighter dude who got killed. You know what else though? You should let's after the show. We'll look at his fucking Twitter feed. It was fucking heinous, filled with all of the most hateful. And he also commented on Pelosi's husband getting shot, beaten the fuck out.
Understated. The whole 9 yards. I get you. My only thing is, if somebody is contributing to society, in the case of a firefighter that legitimately saves lives, say what you want about his political opinion. I don't give a fuck. That doesn't add or take away necessarily the value of a human life. I'm just saying, you can't outwardly say that even the people who are getting killed don't fucking matter. That I think my point.
I will say.
Not defending the man's choices or actions while he was alive.
He gets a lot of leeway from me for being a firefighter. He does get a lot of leeway from me being a firefighter. He's still a fascist piece of shit.
I won't disagree.
And I'm not mourning his death.
Oh,
when people with those level of heinous beliefs die, I don't necessarily celebrate their death, but I do celebrate their removal from the gene pool.
I'm honestly hit or miss about this because my opinion about political perspective, and that above all else,
you dick ride that centrist angle, bruh. You do.
And unlike you, I actually believe in modernism. Anyway.
Modernism doesn't exist in this country. It's just
yes, it does. Just because the federal government puts it in a binary does not mean that it's truly a binary. Fuck all that. Anyway. Because there's so much gray, my nigga. I mean, first and foremost, I also got to say this from this perspective. When you are literally born as a gray area, racially, being in that moderate middle ground, whatever you want to call it, is my whole identity. I'll be so damn real. Like, it's a perfect example for bipartisanism, right? If you are claimed to be not enough of one thing to be on one side and not enough of another thing to be on the other side, where do you see yourself? In the middle. That's the only other place you could possibly be.
I get you where you're coming from, but the whole notion that you are what you're not a white man, you're not a black man. Both of those because of your
no. Not that perspective is not on myself. That perspective is what other people perceive of me. That's what that
perception. Both of those on the white side and black side are both rooted in right-wing lenses of social identity.
you're not seemingly understanding my point on how it equates. I'm saying
no. I get. Oh, I understand how you're trying. What you're trying to equate. What I am saying is that the reason it doesn't equate is because
I think you're missing the point. I'm not saying that black people saying to black people are liberal and white people saying to black people you're not white, half black people you're not white enough is conservative. I'm saying when you are literally in a gray area, when everybody around you is saying politics is black or white, you're literally saying to them, no, hold on, time out. Right now, everything is being presented to you as black and white, red or blue. But there genuinely is a purple in this country. People who genuinely don't have a, claim against a trans person's life, but is genuinely like, hey, that's just not what I want to focus on. Or the same thing about any societal issue, the abortion as well.
I do want to say
that's what I'm saying.
I hear where you're coming from, but I want to just correct the record because I got trans friends and shit. I do want to say that most people on the left, all people on the left, don't want to talk about trans issues and trans people and shit. We're not, just this year alone, 355 bills have been put forward in state houses at different levels of government all across this country to restrict the presence of trans people in public, criminalize their existence in different aspects of daily life, and prevent them from getting the drugs and treatment that they need. So
hold on, just very quickly.
I want to be very clear that the reason why we talk about it so much is because the right wing makes it an issue, and you cannot give ground to the right ever in a culture war issue.
The point went right over your head. Again, I'm not saying that the left and the right does this. What I'm trying to say to you is, if we can accept that there are extreme conservatives that are putting forth these 350 plus bills regarding trans people. My point isn't that liberals should stop talking about trans people. My point is the moderates of this country are saying genuinely we don't have a feeling regarding it either way. Let them do what they want to do, and there shouldn't be any bills put forward that restricts their access. I think that's like would be the moderate view. Is that fair?
That here, the thing is that is the problem is that the trans issue has been, because it's been framed by the right wing as either you're against it or you're for it, and
that's why I say that the binary cannot be what people operate under, because if you assume, hold on, just very quickly, you assume that people are either with your existence, they stand by your ability to exist, or they don't stand by your ability to exist, then yes, there is no middle ground there. But what I keep trying to say to people, I think my point over the course of these almost 6 months is, stop having that perspective because you are being forced into a binary. There is that loud majority that says, I genuinely don't have an opinion on this subject either way. Let them survive. Don't add any laws that restrict their access. Simple. Right there. But when it is, let me finish. Just when it is presented to you from conservatives that either people agree with your existence or they don't agree and they're going to go out and try and kill you, then yes, obviously when somebody says, no, I don't have an opinion either way about it, I can understand why you then automatically assume, they're just lying to try and save face, when in reality the people are just like, hey, this isn't my issue to worry about. Same thing about abortion. I'm a fucking man. Abortion should not be a conversation that I have outside of my personal relationship, but society has made this thing a full-blown conversation with all parties involved. And it's like, hey, realistically, unless I'm facing it in my personal life, I don't really want to hear the word abortion. But yes, I'm aware that conservatives are putting so much emphasis on banning it. And yes, I am aware that some, I'm not saying all, but the extreme positions of both sides, that some people are trying to also do extremely late term abortion. Not really. That's not a fucking thing.
That doesn't exist. Yeah, no, that's
so. It's like
I just want to let you, if you need emotionally to think that there are the centrist positions, they're the centrist positions.
I just made the argument that not all conservatives are exactly like I'm saying here, fitting in that binary of they should exist or they shouldn't, or abortion should be fully done or it shouldn't. There used to be a perspective of it's not right for me. And I value that opinion a lot. That, hey, you know,
The freedom
abortion,
opinion.
here it is. Abortion isn't right for me and my family, but if it happens to you, do what you got to do to survive. That used to be the old head perspective, what my grandparents, how my grandparents used to think and shit like that, outside of being gay and obviously because of the time. But that return to what I call normalcy, the acceptance but not being enthusiastic about it, is what I always try to, convey. I hope that my position is clear and that nobody feels like I am against their existence. I love you all.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say about that before we move on to the actual like other stuff is,
Yep.
I recognize you because I'm like, how do I fucking say this without it like turning into a whole nother like you saying it all over again? Because it's like, do you remember how I said how the right wing sort of like it is such like frames things as an extreme in that those kinds of moderate conservatives don't necessarily, they
Have
don't
a
have
leg
as
to
much.
stand on? Yes, I agree
Yeah,
with you.
yeah. So,
And that's
um,
why I say, like, the evolution of what Trumpian republicanism has become, the middle ground of being like, yo, I am not touching this subject. It doesn't affect me. I have no opinion on it either way, is now seen as either a cop out or you're secretly a conservative and you just don't want to explain your true feelings. And I think I'm just saying, if you push people into that, then it does become a binary, and I don't see a lot
so
of
so
liberals coming out of it.
because here's the thing, like I think what a lot of people think when they're asked that they ask, "What is your opinion? Like what would you personally do?" That's not like. Here's the thing: if a person says to me, "I am personally for my own life wouldn't ever abort a child under any circumstances," but I have no reason to tell anybody like how they should or should not live their lives, and they vote along those lines
Mhm.
and support candidates in their lives along those lines, there is nobody short of like a 14-year-old Marxist Leninist with a sickle and hammer in their Twitter bio that is going to like be against that. Like that is that being pro-choice means you choose what you want for your life and don't shit on it and don't try to prevent or shame anyone for the choices that they make. Like
I
that.
think we agree when conservatives try to put forth liberal, and when I mean liberal, I mean the government controlling this aspect of life. When conservatives do that, it is immensely unpopular, even with the people who share that opinion.
People do not like the government interfering in things in ways that makes their lives worse.
And that's a
Ostensibly.
conservative point. Like that is what Republicans used to stand for.
Right. They've got it kind of mixed up now in the sense of, you hate the idea of, hey, you lose your job, you're poor, you don't have any way to like pay your bills. Here's a government subsidy, like a government program for housing, food, and a jobs program. That is looked down upon and vilified by conservatives because of like fucking like the Reagan Revolution. Meanwhile, they love things like uh you know having God taught to all kids in public schools with Bible study. They love controlling women's bodies by way of like policing abortion and shit like that. Like they love just sorry I'm they love preventing people from being able to
Expressing themselves,
expel themselves.
identifying themselves. No, I'm with you, and
Yeah.
I think inherently that's why I'm so anti-current conservative and why I do still claim the moderate position, because I'm like, yo, realistically, there are some things that Republicans could say that would hit nowadays. But god damn it, they're not saying it.
Well,
If this was the 90s or the 80s, it would have been so fucking different.
That's because of the conservatives in this country, like specifically the far right conservatives in the Republican Party, which is just the Republican Party. Their economic policies are deeply unpopular. Democratic economic policies are more popular. Even corporate shitlib Democratic economic policies are more popular.
They have to run on those.
Right. The problem is that, you know, the thing is that conservatives realize that we can talk about black people being welfare queens and trans people and gay people grooming children and shit, and we can talk about that all day long, and just elicit feelings of great America, and then we can just turn around and just fuck them. Now, Democrats will do the same thing. They will fuck us economically in certain aspects, but you're more likely to get welfare spending, even if it's mean tested. You're the American health, the American Health Care Act, Obamacare, the ACA, not Health Care Act, the American, whatever, was a great, ostensibly not a bad bill. It wasn't single payer, it wasn't a public option, but it was still pretty damn good. And you want to know why so many people in red states don't like it? It's because a bunch of fucking governors for conservative states sued the federal government on whether or not on not being able to having to be forced to accept the money from the federal government, and then they could just choose, oh nope, we're not, and they won that court case at the Supreme Court, and then they chose, no, we're not going to take the money to subsidize the healthcare, and then their financial books immediately got burdened with these things, and then they could point to this and say, see Obamacare is fucking killing our state, and it's the reason why it's harder to pay our federal employees, and it's harder why you're not able to get certain things that you need, and they used it as a cudgel, and that was the first linchpin into turning Obamacare, which ostensibly should be beloved as
close as we'll get to universal health care. I will just say,
and we're not going to, because it's been picked apart to such a degree.
I think we'll end on this. Just I hope people share in this opinion. I hope Democrats one day gain the ruthlessness that conservatives seem to have, because there's definitely a difference in the play. On the field.
Agreed. I want Democrats to start bullying conservatives, calling out their mistresses and shit, calling out the fact, is this policy that you did, you say you're for workers, and you're for workers and unions and stuff. Didn't you vote on this bill that makes it harder for unions to be able to survive and be made? And then just constantly picking them apart. I want smarmy bully Democrats, and we do get them, and sometimes those enough. Sometimes they bully. Sometimes those smarmy dickheads on the Democratic side, just like on the Republicans, cheat on their wives, like Anthony Weiner. And Anthony Weiner was dope as shit.
Yeah, he was, but he should have kept his dick in his pants.
He should have kept his dick in his pants. And honestly, in hindsight, if that shit came out today and he was out trying to...
He's also... I just hope you realize, I don't think you understand what you just said here. If Anthony Weiner kept his fucking dick in his pants, Clinton would have won 2016.
How do you think?
It was his wife who got either arrested. No. It was his wife's laptop who they found out the information regarding the emails and the DNC about, because when he got arrested, because it was about a minor, they found out.
You're right.
If this man just kept his dick in his pants.
I didn't know he texted a minor.
I think it was a minor because they had a police investigation.
Wait, I thought
maybe it wasn't a minor, but
I don't think it was a minor. I think he just texted a hooker.
They investigated him for some reason, and then that was the reason why or the wife who was Hillary Clinton's homegirl. I can't remember what position she was in, but yeah, that was the whole reason for that. Because then that's when Comey did the whole fucking thing about her emails and was like, "Yo, I don't know if we could actually vote for her like a week before the election or what the fuck ever." Yeah, I'm just noticing the differences between this election and a fucking 2016 one, and it's crazy because it seems like the more bullshit there is, the more Trump wins. Last point, final point. Go watch the newest episode of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. He invites Bill O'Reilly on. Fuck Bill O'Reilly, but goddamn if they don't debate amazingly. And they've been debating for the last 20 years together. So go out and do that.
So I just saw it. So he was, in fact, sexting with a 15-year-old girl from North Carolina. I did not know this.
Yep.
And that was the thing that ended up like getting the Hillary Clinton stuff. Okay, so you were right.
Hey, thanks for fact checking me.
You're good. You were right. I was pretty sure like he only texted adult women, like the youngest.
No, because they had to investigate him for them to find out the info on Clinton. But yeah, it's just crazy, you know, how simple that shit could happen. Message for all the boys out there choosing to go into politics. God bless you if you choose to do that. Keep your dick in your pants. You could change the future. Okay.
I've said so much heinous shit about cops that I would not be able to be politics.
I believe it.
I do not fucking like cops. All right, let's stop all this shit and move on to some actual fucking things, shall we? All right. Let's start with this. Still vaguely political, but in the gaming space, workers at Bethesda Game Studios have fully unionized.
As they should.
A wall-to-wall union with workers across divisions. They have joined the Communication Workers of America. They say they're the first Microsoft video game studio to form a wall-to-wall union, and a total of 241 workers have signed either an authorization card or indicated they want to join a union through online portal. The wall-to-wall nature of their organization means the CWA will be representing the workers across job descriptions and divisions, not just one type, including artists, engineers, programmers, designers. Bethesda is the developer behind Starfield. We know who they are. Microsoft has already recognized the union. So workers at the studio's Maryland office have officially joined the CWA Locals 2108, while those in the Texas office have become member of the CWA Locals 6215. We're so excited to announce our union at Bethesda Game Studio and join the movement sweeping across the video game industry. This is really good. This is fucking huge. This is like big, simply for the reason that Bethesda Game Studios is one of the most valuable video game producers in the industry. Like
between them and Take-Two, yeah.
Between them and Take-Two, between that with Take-Two, there's a couple other but the Bethesda makes very valuable games on lower budget teams and shit. Like they are like really like they're like there's no like and here's the thing, because Bethesda Game Studios, especially the Maryland office, is filled with an old guard. People that, you know, have worked, like the youngest person there, like last I heard, had been there like 10 years, and he was the youngest person, like the person for the least amount of time. These are like the backbone of Skyrim, your Fallouts, Starfields, which, let's be real, was fucking Todd Howard's pet project, but whatever. Ultimately, this is dope. This is really good, and I think this is awesome because
I will just say, I wish it does it give them access to like ability to like say yes or no to projects, choose what they want to work on and shit like that. That would be my only other ask.
They are the way that, you know, studios like Bethesda work. They already kind of have that. Like they have the IPs that they're working on, but like for example, there's one dude made the entire Dark Brotherhood quest line for Oblivion. So
gotcha.
You know, it's they're very much
that's good.
They're very much a Now, granted, they're a little more corporate now because of Microsoft and stuff. But what this does is this insulates them from being
randomly ousted,
like
big layoffs. No, I know.
They go
and
make Elder
exactly...
Scrolls. They go make Elder Scrolls 6, and then the studio, and then fucking Microsoft fires them and shit like they did the people behind.
If only Hi-Fi fucking Rush's studio, Larian, actually got this.
Yeah, and I remember, and like this is like, you know, this is I think like this is, you know, because it's wall to wall. I think it's like more of a workplace democracy. And you know, in this kind of, and I think they do have more, and they might have more control over projects being tackled and stuff like that.
Well, yeah, after Microsoft, I'm just gonna say this: after Microsoft acquired Activision, I feel like their percentage of the gaming field has definitely gone up. So without a doubt, we should see more studios try and unionize, because otherwise they're going to get an axe to them. Because if you're not a billion-dollar video game like Call of Duty, you know, the big releases every single year, DLC for I was going to say fucking World of Warcraft. That's not even really that big anymore. I mean, it still is, but you know.
I mean, it's still the big. I think it's still the biggest MMO in the world. I think still has the most subscribers. It makes, you know, millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars a year. It's still a...
Yeah, but if you're not a Call of Duty or a, I'm just using this as an example, GTA or shit like that, then Xbox Game Studio, especially after acquiring all this shit, is gonna just close you down, because you don't put out the same amount of gold that they really need. Because I think it was like $5 billion for the Activision plan. They own Bethesda, so they need to make that money back. And Microsoft is only like a less than 10% profit margin. So it's not making its money back for Microsoft to actually be like, yo, you got all these game studios, Phil Spencer, do what you want. Because Phil Spencer, they're also raising the price of Game Pass. I'm not sure if you wanted to talk about that, but the Ultimate is going up to like $20.
Yeah, fuck that.
The standard tier is $15, or staying at the same price, but $2 raised, so $12. And then they're adding a new tier that gets you day one access to games when they release. So they did this because they're adding Call of Duty 6, Black Ops 6 on Game Pass day one. But if you don't have that specific tier, then you can't get it. But I will say, as a PC player like myself, they're not raising the price. So if you do have Game Pass and you have a computer, keep that shit on. Do that. Do that right there.
Yeah. I will say, Bethesda isn't the first one to get, you know, the upgrade to join the CWA. So in January of last year, 300 quality assurance workers at ZeniMax Studios. So these are the people that I believe these
play
are
through the game, get rid of the bugs, things like that.
Specifically at ZeniMax, when they say ZeniMax Studios, I think those are the people that work on Elder Scrolls Online and do the QA for them.
I think they're also a part of. I think they might QA for Machine Games too.
Got it. And they at the time formed the largest union in the industry with 300 members, but the QA workers at Activision also unionized with 600 workers.
Yeah.
So
yeah, so we're definitely seeing. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I think now that Bobby Kotick is not in charge of Activision Blizzard anymore, you know,
even though he got paid, that fucking pig.
Somebody. Never mind. I'm not going to do a call to violence. I think ultimately, now that he's gone and the tactics that he used are gone, and a lot of the fucking shitty managers are gone too. I think there is now going to be a change in like now. I think I wouldn't be surprised with so much going on like under the former like the new Microsoft stuff and all the unionization going on, especially in the wake of the absolutely vicious fucking February and March we had, where just the entire games industry got gutted by like 18% in terms of workers getting the boot. I think that companies not being able to fire. I think that's kind of the big thing about these unions. not firing people developing games on a whim. I think forcing companies to keep the people that built these games and made them money on, and I think it'll lead to a much healthier industry. I think it'll lead to us getting better games because you're not going to have people constantly filtering out of the industry because they're like, fuck it, I just want a stable paycheck. You're going to get people.
I think you also won't see a Redfall release because Arcane Studios really didn't want to release a game like that. And
they didn't want to make a game like that. They made fucking Dishonored and shit. Like that's not.
And the continued push from studios to create more games as a service, even though they're like single player developers and shit like that.
That was a push from ZeniMax originally, and Redfall was already in the pipeline, almost done when Microsoft got to it, and Microsoft just said, "Yeah, just fucking put it out as is. We don't give a shit." And they're like, "But it's not done. Like we don't care. Just put it out on Game Pass." And believe it or not, Fallout 76 was actually a part of that. Was a part of that push from ZeniMax's leadership to do online service games. And don't get me wrong, Fallout 76 is now a much better game compared to it was. But it's an arcadey MMO like experience. You still got quests and dialogue trees and NPCs and stuff now. It's perfectly fine. It's an enjoyable game. It's no fucking Fallout 4 by comparison, but it's fine. It just whether or not it needed to exist in the first place, I don't think it did. I think honestly, having Bethesda Texas just for funsies make a Appalachian based Fallout game that's just smaller in scale, I think that would have sold gangbusters. I think that would have sold.
I think if they released the main story fucking Fallout right after the show, they would have been sold gangbusters.
Well, that wasn't going to happen. Like the Fallout TV show had been in works for years, and there was no way we were going to know about it. But to Bethesda's credit, they did hack out some new free Creation Club content and made Creation Club content in Fallout 4 free. In the aftermath of that, sort of just to throw people a bone. But yeah, it's a whole fucking thing. Moving on. Yes, we love that. We love unionization among the game industry because God knows they fucking need it. God knows let's get developers broadly in fintech, unionized next because I wouldn't have lost my job with the 24-hour notice if that didn't happen. Mm-hmm. Moving on, Mortal Kombat Onslaught shutting down barely a year after release.
Good. I got all the Mortal Kombat 1 rewards I needed from the game. I will say, I don't know what the fuck is going on with Mortal Kombat lately, though, because Mortal Kombat 1 does fucking suck dick. It sucks dick. And it's just because they don't have enough offline single-player modes. That's literally it.
Yeah. Do you feel like Mortal Kombat is kind of a shell of itself?
Yes, because it's amazing to me that they really thought, hey, what does everybody want in their new fighting game? Oh, I got it. A board game-like adventure where every node you walk across is a single fight. You don't get any character intros. The thing that you get using the character over and over and over again, and you get to see it, and it's super customizable. And also, you know what we'll take away? We'll take away the ability to customize different parts of your gear so you could have one thing along with another thing. No. We're going to mode it all down and claim that every character only gets one set of gear from here on in. You want to know how you get more? You got to go play that game board mode. Oh, and you want to know the best part about the game board mode? There's no map whatsoever. Good luck. I fucking hate Mortal Kombat 1. It's so trash. And I'm just upset with it because Mortal Kombat 11, the last game in the fucking series, they spent like 4 years making Mortal Kombat 1, has so many more features compared to Mortal Kombat 1. And it's insane. It's legitimately insane. A fighting game, especially if it's based on playing with somebody else in the same room, should not be some bullshit like that. You can't even look at the rewards that you're gonna get for characters until you get them. And it's like, come on! At least with Mortal Kombat 11, I got to choose the tower based on what gear and rewards I wanted to get. Now I can't get shit. I gotta go through the whole entire fight. Hopefully, I make it. Because the other thing about this is the modifiers make shit so bullshit. And the only way you can actually level up your character is playing online, which is I would rather stick my dick in a pencil sharpener than play Mortal Kombat 1 online. It's insane. At least with Mortal Kombat 11, I recognize, hey, I'm trash. I can accept this. Mortal Kombat 1, they changed up with the cameo features. And man, even if you're one hit away from killing your opponent, you will get brought back so fucking quickly. It's insane. The comebacks in that game are insane. Yeah, I'm just not a fan. And I'm not necessarily even talking about game mechanics. Game mechanics themselves, pretty good. Pretty okay.
Like it's hard. You can fuck up like fighting game mechanics, but like those are usually the first things that they make tight.
Yeah.
In a fighting game, usually, because if the fighting game mechanics are shit, it doesn't matter what else you do with the rest of it.
You know what Mortal Kombat 1 is giving me the vibe of?
What?
Dark Tide when it released, and it's like almost a year after release, and I'm like, can y'all add something to this fucking game?
You and I should do a stream where we revisit Dark Tide on PC.
I've been getting back into it a little bit. I really wish they would get rid of the fucking RNG, though. That is the one biggest criticism I have about that game, and fuck, if it's insane to get actually good gear.
Yeah. We've only got about 4 minutes to the hour. I talked about it at length, but I want to know if you heard about it.
The Microsoft outage or whatever it was.
The crowd specifically, and do you know what, like, how it happened?
Not how it happened, but I know that everything is based off of it.
Let me explain it from a developer's point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody at CrowdStrike, a team, the team at CrowdStrike committed one of the cardinal sins. They deployed to production on a Friday. Bad juju.
What?
Bad, rancid vibes.
What does that mean for the non-developer heads?
So what it means is that they pushed an update to CrowdStrike security software, which is on tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of PCs all across the world, in everything from airlines to government healthcare to government offices to private offices, like everything. Like it is.
Yeah, like I know. They had ground planes. They had health services.
They pushed an update out before everybody went home for the weekend.
They said, y'all got it.
You never push to production on a Friday because you might need somebody to come. You might need the team to troubleshoot shit. You push to production at latest on a Thursday.
I think the funniest aspect of this story, I'm just saying this because this is what I remember seeing. It was a tweet, and I think it was either Delta or American or one of them. They weren't grounded because they run their service off of Windows 3.
Of a Commodore
Which is
64.
Insane.
Of a Commodore 64.
Literally.
And
they were like, we're good.
Well,
I don't know if it was Delta, but yeah, it was one of them.
But ultimately, I think it was Southwest. Yeah, right. But ultimately, the biggest thing about it, and here's the insidiousness of this: they bricked all of those computers.
Mm-hmm.
Like probably like at least 100 million PCs or more, hundreds of millions even. And it was the type of brick where like you boot up and immediately crash. You don't get to connect to the internet and catch it up and get the update. None of that. So what you have to do is you have to boot it in safe boot mode.
And nobody knows how to do that shit.
Except the IT professionals. So they were having a terrible weekend. And you boot it up and you with like a thumb drive or a disk, you update it, the drivers, you update it manually. And so then you restart it and it reboots. And what the problem was is that there was a lot of cases where they would fix it, it would reboot, and then it would download the bad update again and then immediately crash again. So just to make it simple, Friday the 26th, July 2024 was the day every IT support person went. This was our 9/11. Like, and I'm so, and you want to know the funniest thing, and this is the thing we can end on. I did 5 separate applications. 5. To CrowdStrike. To be a developer at CrowdStrike a month ago. And man, when I tell you, I had 2 thoughts. I'm glad they didn't pick me. And I'm like, you know what? Bet y'all wish you picked me so you'd have the help. I need a job. Ugh.
Hear that. But yeah, man, that's crazy. I can't believe it was literally just an update.
It was an update, and you must be wondering as to how is CrowdStrike, like all of these on like things like this, well, CrowdStrike updates Windows doubly so for corporate things and stuff like that to keep things safe. Like updates older versions of Windows, keeps it going, blah 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 blah. And corporate entities love working with other corporate entities. That's why they pick Microsoft over like that shit. So I think that, who knows? I think ultimately I might be able to get a job in IT support. I'm going to start looking for IT support jobs. I might be able to get a leg in there. Just saying.
With a mass amounts of, what they're looking for, definitely.
Yeah. But on that note, I do now have a pre-recorded outro that tells me all of the things. So we're going to tell Brian's socials real quick and say our goodbyes. But thank you, everybody, for listening to the rundown. This is the 20th episode. Somehow we made it here, and I'm happy we did. If you can follow Brian at no.2Brian on YouTube, no.2_Brian on Instagram, and go give him follows and all that. I will, and thank y'all for watching. We'll see you next time.
Appreciate y'all.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you want to talk to me outside of this video, outside of live streams, or just join the community and be a part of it, you can do so at HIMediaTV/Discord. Discord links there. We'd love to have you. And given the financial situation of the economy right now, I know this is a tall ask, but if you have the scratch to spare, please consider donating and becoming a supporter at HIMedia.gg/tip. All of our perks are serviced through our Discord channel, including early access videos, exclusive videos, and more. Your generosity is a blessing, and $1 a month is a boon to my mental health. Thank you so very much for watching. I appreciate you, and have a great day.